Hey there. So this recitation video is going to be a little bit different from the ones I've done before. So I've done 8 chapters of Hebrews so far, and each time I do a recitation video, it's at the end of my process. So I've spent an entire month memorizing this passage and reciting it over and over, and then I sit down to record it and put it on YouTube. It's kind of my way of saying, check, done, move to the next one. And so when I record these videos, it is a painstakingly long process. I hit record, I start talking, I say a word funny, and then I start over. Or I'll forget the passage, but it takes, no joke, maybe 30 to 40 takes to get it right. And so I was explaining that to somebody, like, Becky, you should post the raw footage, if you will, the process, the not perfect video. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that this time. Hebrews 9 has 28 verses. And I decided, yeah, I'm going to post just one take, just go for it one take and see what happens without hitting stop and record several times. So I'm going to do that because someone recommended it and I thought that was a great idea. But I'm also doing that because I found this time I was just losing that joy of internalizing because the stress of making these videos, like there's tears sometimes when I make these videos because I have to start over so many times. And so this video you're about to see, I just did it in one take. Yes, I am missing chunks. And yes, you may seem like it flows correctly. I do have some pauses in there, but this is the end of my process, and I'm thinking about making a video, and you can tell me if this is something that you might be interested in learning about, my whole process for learning a chapter, because it isn't this smooth in the beginning when I'm first learning a chapter. So there's a whole process that I've gone through over weeks to get to the point where I can recite a chapter straight through. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see a video. You can also like and subscribe to catch any future videos, but here it is, Hebrews 9, one take. Here it is. Now, the first covenant also had regulations for ministry and an earthly sanctuary. For a tabernacle was set up, and in the first room, which is called the holy place, were the lampstand, the table, and the presentation loaves. Behind the second curtain, the tabernacle was called the most holy place. In it were the gold altar of incense and the Ark of the Covenant, covered with gold on all sides, in which there was a gold jar containing the manna, Aaron's staff that budded, and the tablets of the covenant. The cherubim of glory were above it, overshadowing the mercy seat. It is not possible to speak about these things in detail right now. With these things set up this way, the priest enters the first room repeatedly, performing their ministry. But the high priest alone enters the second room, and he only does that once a year, and never without blood, which he offers for himself and for the sins of the people committed in ignorance. The Holy Spirit was making it clear that the way into the second room had not yet been disclosed while the first tabernacle was still standing. This is a symbol for the present time, during which gifts and sacrifices are offered that cannot perfect the worshiper's conscience. These are physical regulations and deal only with food, drink, and various washings imposed until the time of restoration. But the Messiah has appeared, high priest of the good things that have come. In the greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is, not of this creation, he entered the most holy place once for all. And not by his blood, not by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood, having obtained eternal redemption. For if the blood of goats and bulls and the ashes of a young cow, sprinkling those who are defiled, sanctifies for the purification of the flesh, how much more will the blood of the Messiah, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without blemish to God, cleanse our consciences to serve the living God? Therefore, he is the mediator of a new covenant, so that those who are called might receive the promise of the eternal inheritance, because a death has taken place. Where a will exists, the death of the one who made it must be established. For a will is only valid when people die, since it is never enforced while the one who made it is living. That is why even the first covenant was inaugurated with blood. For when every command had been proclaimed by Moses to all of the people according to the law, He took the blood of calves and goats, along with water, scarlet wool, and hyssop, and sprinkled the scroll itself and all the people, saying, "This is the blood of the covenant that God has commanded for you." In the same way, he sprinkled the tabernacle and all the articles of worship. With blood. That's important, with blood. According to the law, almost everything is purified with blood, and without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. Therefore, it was necessary for the copies of these things in the heavens to be purified with these sacrifices, but for the heavenly things themselves to be purified with sacrifices better than these. For the Messiah did not enter a sanctuary made with hands, only a model of the true one, but into heaven itself, so that he might now appear in the presence of God for us. He did not do this to offer himself many times, as the high priest enters the sanctuary yearly with the blood of another. Otherwise, he would have had to suffer many times since the foundation of the world. But the Messiah has appeared one time at the end of the ages for the removal of sin through the sacrifice of himself. And just as it is appointed for people to die once, and after this, judgment, so must the Messiah, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will now appear a second time, not to bear sins, but to bring salvation to those who are waiting for him.